First introduce myself. I am Ruchi from Unicorn India Ventures. We are a Mumbai-based VC fund. We generally invest in early series, seed or pre-series A kind of a round. We are very closely associated with KSU, and we have a lot of investments in Kerala. So it's a place where we generally look for good ideas because our experience has been really, really good. Like one of our startups is Gen Robotics here, which is doing fantastic work. So that's with the intro. We have two funds in place. The first fund was a 100 CR fund. The second one is a 400 CR fund. So the first fund, we did around 17 investments and made around 8 to 9x kind of a return. So, which is a fantastic return in the VC industry. The second fund is just a 2-year-old fund where it's a 300 CR fund. We have made around 15 investments. We are still closing around 4 more investments. So that's with the brief. With respect to which sectors are we looking at, so we did a long thesis on, health tech as a space. And I'll give you exactly like really, really specific things that we think will do well. First one will be telemedicine, teleconsultation, especially after COVID. That is one space which we think, so if you look at India, there is a lot of burden on the hospitals. And there is a large amount of penetration of mobile phones in India. So giving large amount of access to people and lesser burden on the hospitals. So that's something that telemedicine will help in, though there are a little cons to it, but we still feel it will grow. The second one is wearables. So, Apple, Samsung, they have come out with wearables, so giving health information. Last year, there was an 80% rise in the amount of smartwatches that has been sold. So we can see a lot of traction coming from there. So this is the second one. The third one is insurance. So especially post-COVID, I'm sure, a lot of people have taken insurance, health insurance, and been very, very specific or know what exactly the insurance includes or does not include. Like all of us want the COVID, cover to be a part of it. So increase in the amount of insurance, and also with respect to, they're more aware of what the insurance is trying to cover. They are not relying on the family members or the agents to give them information. They're actually using a lot of online platforms. So you'll see, like when I took my insurance, I just asked my dad. Right now, even I, read a blog post or I go to the website. So there's a great shift on online insurance, digital insurance information that, again, will be growing. Again, the fourth one is use of robotics in surgery. So robotics can really help in very precision surgery, and a lot of processes, manually, there can be a high amount of radiation to the doctor. So robotics will kind of help in that. So more precision and more helping the doctor do it in a better way. So that's with that. Again, there are these like really niche industries, that is nanotechnology, basically whenever you take a medicine, like targeting at a specific part of your body. That is one thing. Then there is 3D printing, but in the healthcare space. So you can produce your health tissues. Again, there are very niche, it just started, but if something comes up, it can really change the healthcare industry. Then one of the seminars I was attending in the morning, which again spoke about a cloud infrastructure for recording, for keeping all the database or health information of the patients. So suppose, in Tamil Nadu, you're getting your test done and you want to show to a doctor in Kerala. So you can just upload the documents and directly, the doctor can refer to that. So broadly, these are a few things that are kind of interesting. If I go like really on a broad category, so then there are these devices, medical devices. So there has been a trend, which I'm sure all of us have seen, that only hospitals would have medical devices, to cure. Now, a lot of times, individuals, not just having that blood pressure wala machine, but now you're having these like sugar tests which can be done home, these medical devices. So there is a shift of these portable, small, affordable machines which can be used at an individual's house. So that is one thing. So yeah, on a broad basis, these are a few things that as a VC, we are looking at.
So my name is Hari and I'm currently the CHRO at Big Basket, but I'm moving on from 30th of June and starting a school of entrepreneurship called the Artha School of Entrepreneurship. And the problem that we are trying to solve for is the problem of scaling, the 1 to 10 and beyond journeys of startups. Once a product market fit is obtained, so how can startups scale? So that's the problem that we are trying to solve in a very broad sense. So we are beginning our journey here, and we want to take it and to touch the entire entrepreneurial ecosystem in the country. So I really don't have a very great answer to your question as to which subsector I think will do well. But I feel one subsector that will do well is one that organizes. For example, you have these top hospitals, Fortis, Apollo, Manipal. I would say they are the top hospitals which provide awesome healthcare services. But the price point they charge is very high. But there are a number of other hospitals in the country which are not in that same league, but which are committed to doing business ethically and honestly. They don't have that brand. And I think any startup that can help these hospitals organize and help them create a brand and become the next Apollo equivalent, I think that is a sector that will really do well. To me, that I think is the big one.
I've been a regular in this ecosystem for last few years. So I'm Manoj Agarwal, managing partner at SEAFUND. We also work closely with KSAM for last few years. Out of our 14 investments from Fund 1, 7 are in Kerala, and 4 out of them are linked to Healthtech. So that's a very good percentage, right? So I'll just, so one of them is Best Doc, where me and Hari are invested, which, is a very successful founder from here who sold one of his ventures to Big Basket. And he works in the patient experience space, improving the journey of a patient inside a hospital. And that is where Hari, like what Hari mentioned, the next level of hospitals, he works with the top tier, but he works very closely with the next tier. So those are the kind of startups, also to answer which will continue to grow, and there's a lot more to happen. Then we have Gen Robotics, where we are invested with Unicorn, which is working. Healthtech is one of their focus areas. We have a couple of them others who are at the cusp of Healthtech and FinTech, Healthtech and SureTech. And to answer your question, I think that is where a lot of new innovation will happen, which will be at the cusp of Healthtech or MedTech and robotics, MedTech and various devices, electronics, InsurTech, FinTech. Like in India today, we don't have even concept of health savings account. That the concepts like this will come in. Insurance premium financing. One of our startups is trying to do that. Globally, insurance premium financing is very common, and one of the biggest market for that will be health insurance, right? Because we are hugely underinsured, especially the same 400 million which Hari spoke about. We need that sector to have enough money to take care of their health. Sometimes they are not able to pay a 50,000 premium, so they are underinsured themselves with a 10,000 premium for a 2 lakh insurance, while they need 10 lakh. So if there is premium financing, it will make their life easier. So where the banks and the insurance companies and the technology provider partners together and provides that solution. So many things like this, which are at the cusp of different technologies, along with Healthtech, will see the next phase of growth. Thank you.
That's very useful. How could we have missed the cusp of FinTech and SureTech to Healthtech? So thanks for bringing that up. Sandro, over to you.
I think my panelists here kind of covered everything under healthcare. There's nothing left to actually be specific. But I can give you one thing that I feel, and I strongly feel about this, is in the near future, or it's a long gestation period again, on healthcare for tier 3 and tier 4 towns. Now that's one area which is still very untapped, to be honest. So there's a lot of development that needs to go in, especially if you go above Bombay towards the north side of India. You'll see more of touts than actually doctors to be around. And you won't be, I mean, I've done a deeper diligence in one of the companies where I went to a place in a remote area of Kota in Rajasthan, where I was surprised to see there was a doctor there, and right next to him was a tout. And there was a significant line outside the tout, and there was hardly anyone outside the doctor. Now that's the, the mindset that the people have. So, we have to do a different change altogether to kind of create that kind of impact, where healthcare kind of takes a different step altogether. I mean, imagine how what is the state of the country of the people in tier 3, tier 4 towns who are actually believing more on touts than actually somebody who's kind of burned the midnight oil to be a doctor, and today he's there and not being able to serve.
Thanks, Sandro. Very well put. I think just to complete the round, I'll take a couple of minutes to introduce myself, and then I'll come to the audience for any questions that you may have for the panel. So please get your questions ready. Just in terms of my introduction, I am managing partner with India Accelerator. We are a private limited company, have been in operations for 5 years. The core of what we do is a mentorship-driven acceleration program to help startups with business growth and funding. Right? Just in terms of my personal intro, I'm an engineering graduate by education. Have spent about 2 decades with IT services, IT consulting in different parts of India and world. And before becoming part of the founding team at India Accelerator, my intent, which I spoke of very, very briefly in the morning, was to make sure whatever I've learned is to bring to bear in the startup ecosystem. And hopefully we are able to do that. With India Accelerator, we were awarded the best accelerator by Startup India earlier this year. So just wanted to make sure, share that perspective with you. And also now open to the audience for any questions that you may have.
Financial portfolio funding proposition. With regard to this, in Indian context, being a humongous consumption-based market we have, let it be health tech or disruptive technology or emerging technology, how well you guys can think of a crowdfunding platform for emerging technologies connected to or correlated to the health tech or something? Is it viable in Indian context, this crowdfunding scenario? Because you are all in the funding platform.
So I can make an attempt at that. So in India, crowdfunding is not allowed, right? Unless, unless it is not for investing. Like, you have a lot of crowdfunding platform where it is more like donation. So if you are developing a device and you want early adopters who will buy your device, for that you can use some of these platforms which are already available. But otherwise, from a pure investing perspective, these are private enterprises and our regulations today don't allow. While in US, there are some platforms which allow this, where people can invest as low as $100 and buy equity of a startup. It's regulated, but it's fairly easy to do that. But in India, we cannot do as of now. But there are, private funding platforms like angel platforms, like Let's Venture, AngelList, various angel networks, which one can approach. But crowdfunding is still an issue. And that includes the life cycle of investing, exiting and all that. So it's not easy for funds sometimes to come in early at this stage. So we need some of these early stages to be taken care of. And at the growth stage, funds can come in situations like this. And they have been investing. Numbers are lower. We need probably growth on that. So we need more interventions at the early stage, maybe from government institutions, research grants, which we have seen globally happening. In US, Moderna got grants to discover, for the vaccine discovery. So that helped them to expedite this. So that is what is required more at that stage. But funds will come in at a little later stage because of the whole life cycle process.
So, makes sense. I think, throughout the journey, as you just said, right, government grants, research funds, the angel investors, versus or compared to the product-based startups, which are slightly difficult to scale.
Thanks, Deepak, for the question. So just I'll take a minute to introduce myself. So my name is Sandro Stephen. I'm the Vice President at Indian Angel Network. Just to give you a perspective of IAN, so we have been investing in startups across sectors. we've recently done a partnership with BioRack, and this is the only bio angel network that IN and BioRack have kind of put together to kind of form in the country, primarily focused on biotech companies only. So we're coming together, and all those investors or entrepreneurs who are looking at are in the biotech space and are looking at investment or looking to invest in companies, please do connect either physically or virtually. However, happy to kind of help. This was required because the biotech, as the questions have been flying here, that overall healthcare is not picking up compared to the other sectors in the investment side of it. But this point was important for me to put it across so that if there are people willing to step in and help, happy to kind of work together. Now coming to the question what Deepak had kind of taken up. So the thing here is that like I agree with what Ruchi said in the beginning, that for investors primarily it's the investment on the return that they make, right? So when they step in, they would want to see when and how much would they be able to make over a period of time. So when you talk about a services industry, it's faster to move, faster to scale. That kind of makes it easy for the returns to come in, and that's one of the reasons why people tend to invest more there, where the multiplier seems to be higher. As far as the product is concerned, then it becomes a longer gestation period to kind of survive and sustain. But having said that, we see, and this is because of COVID only, we just realized that couple of companies which kind of actually died during COVID, wherein some of them really, came back to life by actually doing something different, by pivoting themselves. So I'll just give you an example of a company called Noka Robotics. And very little do we see actually a business guy coming in with a technology actually coming onto the board. Wherein, as far as the advisors are concerned, it's always good to have advisors on board. Now, these are subjective, right? You could have advisors who are like paid advisors or equity holding. I would suggest they should be advisors who are like willing to come on board and support you without taking any equity or split in that manner. They're willing to kind of come in and support you for the cause that you're doing. There are tons of other advisors that you'll find in the ecosystem who are willing to take that jump with you with the idea to take it to the next level. Even if you end up having a commercial agreement with the advisor of giving some sort of equity, it should not be beyond 0.5%. And that's only the equity that you should be shelling out. We've seen entrepreneurs coming up to us with about 5% given out to advisors just for advising companies. Now that's a total red flag for any investor. You can ask any of the panelists here. Nobody's going to pump in any sort of money in a deal like that.